So many of you know by now that Jeff Beck died at 78 years old today or last night. Someone reached out to me and said, Mazzy, do a little tribute. I'm not one to really a good person to do a tribute. And you know, all through YouTube and around, there's going to be many people who are who are better suited at doing a tribute for Jeff Beck. Now, I'm a huge Jeff Beck fan, but I am not a completist, and I had my personal ups and downs with him musically from my point of view. Roger the Engineer, in this country, in the US, it was the album Over, Under, Sideways, Down. I believe it was the only album that Jeff Beck is on pretty much every cut. And I absolutely adore that album. I have UK pressings on Columbia, and I have the American Epic version of that record. And obviously I followed his career through Truth and Beckola, and I loved his collaborations around that time with Rod Stewart. Now, was it 1973, 74, when he started doing more of the fusion thing, especially with Blow by Blow, and then the subsequent record, Wired. I got both those records, and I got Blow by Blow partially because of the great guitar playing of Jeff Beck, and also the collaboration with George Martin for obvious reasons. And I enjoyed that when he did the instrumental version of She's a Woman. But for me personally, I'm maybe one of the few that those records just never touched me. They were kind of a fusion thing that I really didn't love at the time. And when jazz fusion was coming in, obviously, I just did a video and I talked about my intro into jazz, but with Chick Corea and Weather Report and obviously Miles Davis. He was doing this thing and it was extremely popular. So I'm in the minority there, and I admit that, and that is fine. And I really didn't keep up on his entire recording career, and he really didn't do that many studio albums. About 10 years ago, I saw him for the first time with my friend Brooks in San Francisco at the Masonic Auditorium. Brooks called me and had an extra ticket, and he's a fabulous guitar player. And I will admit also, there is, as great as he was, I found the concert cold and clinical, and everything was sort of perfectly set up and everything. And you know, he's a master at doing these great covers. And obviously he came back years later with Rod Stewart and did that great version of People Get Ready. I adore that too. But the only thing I'm going to do in terms of a shout out to Jeff Beck is his final studio album, which came out in 2016. And it frankly did not get a lot of love. And I, read all these, threads and stories and things. And a lot of people didn't like this album, Loud Hailer. I absolutely adore this record. I believe his wife kind of inspired him to do this and recorded it with these two British artists, Rosie Bones and Carmen Vanderburg on rhythm guitar and vocals, Rosie Bones. And some of it is post-punk and modern and very in your face. It's unlike the slickness of all those other Jeff Beck records. However, I think it is slick and it is beautiful. And so I want to do a shout out of The Revolution Will Be Televised opens up. Not that same song, but this is a magnificent record, and it's a very political record. And that's what I really, really love about this record. This record has balls. Now, not to say there's not some mellow things. In fact, I'm going to close out with a song from it, the last song on side one, Scared for the Children. And I mean, this is topical right now in so many ways too. Beautiful song. There's Jimi Hendrix-like guitar playing by Jeff Beck. And of course, Jeff Beck was a master. Some say he was the best of the British blues players in the 1960s. I certainly think he's definitely one of the best. I slightly preferred Peter Green, but you can't deny the great talent and just the majesty and the heroic playing of Jeff Beck. A great musician, a great artist. And so, as a tribute from my channel, as much as I can say, I'm going to close out with this song, and it's called Scared for the Children with rosy bone singing and the great musicianship of Jeff Beck. So we love you, Jeff. You brought us a lot of great, great music.
Everything done has been done before. Hunger for power and thirst for war. Spend my day standing in the pouring rain, but I know that I'm on my way. I'll never lose my faith in rock and roll. Never let hate make a home in my soul. 7,000 temples came crashing down, but I know that I'm on my way. Who do I believe in? I believe in me. I worship at the shrine of the human body. Who do I pray to? I think I'll pray to you. Or faith in the good things that good humans can. Must we destroy what we don't understand? All of these labels man-made by man. Bad times have passed, bad times will come, but I know that I'm on my way. So who do I believe in? I believe in me. I worship at the shrine of the human body. Who do I pray to? I pray to you. Got faith in the good things that good humans can.
Hi, Jeff.